All right, second graders, so now that we have a piece of paper and something to write with in front of us, we're going to be talking about character traits today. Now there's two different kinds of character traits. There's internal character traits and external character traits. So first, let's talk about internal character traits. So internal character traits are what a character thinks or feels. It's their personality. So we cannot see internal traits. We know someone's internal traits by their actions, their words, and their feelings. So some examples of internal traits would be kind or nice or funny or smart. It's what they think or feel. Let's see, what are some other things? It could be brave. They could be feeling brave. That's a feeling. That's an internal trait. Their personality. So if they are smart, if they're funny, if they're kind, they're caring, they're sweet, thoughtful. These are all internal traits. So now external traits. Those are the traits that we do see. So those are looks and expressions and our bodies. So we can see these traits, and these are our physical bodies. So external traits could be short or tall or thin or small or green-eyed or blonde hair or brown hair, or a lot of the times we can describe characters externally by the position that they hold, so their job. So an external character trait of a doctor would be that they're wearing a doctor's coat, or the scrubs, which is the clothes that doctors and nurses wear. We can tell a police officer by their uniform. So that's an external trait. That's their look. That's their body. Another thing is their expressions. So you can tell when someone's feeling angry by if they're making a frown, scrunchy face, and they look really angry. So that's an external trait that tells us what they're feeling. So them frowning tells us that they're not happy. Same thing if they're smiling. So an external trait could be smiley, and an internal trait would be that they're happy. That's what they're feeling. But their external, their body, is their smile. So what we're going to do together is we're going to go through and we're going to look at some of the characters that we've met so far in the story. So far we've met Despereaux, Despereaux's parents, Despereaux's brother and sisters, Princess P, and King Philip. So first I want to start off by doing Princess P, the character that we just met in the last couple chapters. So let's think back about what we read about Princess P, and I made a little chart here that says internal traits. Remember, those are our feelings and our thoughts and our emotions and our personality. And then our external traits, that's what she looks like, her physical self. Is she tall? Is she short? So let's think back in the story. Let's start with external. Those tend to be a little bit easier. Let's start with external traits of Princess P. So we know that she's a princess, right? So an external trait is that she is a princess. And from the illustration that the author gave us, we know that she wears a dress. So we can put that next to princess. So she wears a dress. What are some other external traits? Do we remember what Despereaux said that she was? Yeah, so Despereaux said that the princess was beautiful. So that's an external trait. That's her body. Her body is beautiful. So we can write beautiful under external traits. Now let's move on to some internal traits about Princess P. So when Princess P first saw Despereaux, was she mean to him or was she really kind to him? Yeah, so she was kind to him. So under internal traits, we can write kind because she showed kindness to Despereaux. That's her personality. That's how she acted. We know that's because, we know she's kind because of her actions. What are some other internal traits that we could say about Princess P? We could say that she's smart because she saw that Despereaux was a mouse and not a bug. So we could write smart. What are some other things we could say about Princess P? We could say that she's thoughtful. She's thinking about others. When she met Despereaux and her dad, King Philip, stopped playing the music, she asked him to play Despereaux a song because she thought that Despereaux liked the music. So under internal traits for Princess P, we could write thoughtful. Now I'm going to be sending you a list of adjectives that we can use to describe characters. So when you are going to do this for other characters, you can look at that list that I sent you, and you can read through and use that to try and figure out some of the adjectives that fit with different characters if you're having a hard time coming up with them on your own. But let's practice with one more character that we met. So another character that we met in the story is Furlow. Furlow is Despereaux's brother, the one that taught him how to scurry, and the one who saw him with Princess P and King Philip. So let's think. Let's start with the external traits. What are some external traits of Furlow, Despereaux's brother? Yeah, so he's a mouse. So under external, we could say mouse. And that reminds me, another trait that we could say for Princess P would be human, because in this story we have characters that are human and characters that are mice. So we know that one of Furlow's external traits is that he's a mouse. So with that, he has ears and a tail and paws. That's what he looks like. Now internally, what are some traits that we could say about Furlow? Is he normally laid back and easygoing, or is he normally nervous and scared and shy? Yeah, so he's normally nervous, right? So that's an internal trait that we could say for Furlow, is that he's nervous, because that's how he feels on the inside. What other things that could we say about Furlow? Internal traits. How does he act with Despereaux? Does he act worried with Despereaux, or does he act really confident with Despereaux? Yeah, so he acts worried. He's worried about his little brother. So we could say worried is an internal trait because that's how he feels. Any other traits? Let's try and come up with one more external one. Do you remember back in the story when we were reading about how Furlow was teaching Despereaux how to scurry and run? And before Despereaux knew it, Furlow was already, he was gone. He was running fast. So an external trait could be fast. His body, his physical body moves fast when he's scurrying. So an external trait, we could say he's fast. He moves really fast. Yeah. So this is a good way to try and think about the different characters of a story and understand them better. It's very, very, very important, though, to go back and make sure that the traits that you're describing for the characters are evident in the story. Like, we know for a fact that Furlow is nervous because he is nervous and worried about his brother a lot, and he's always concerned about his brother. We know that he's a mouse because the author said that he is a brother of Despereaux and that it's a mice family. We know that he's fast because he scurried before Despereaux could even see where he was going. So it's really important to make sure that we're remembering the facts from the story. So now what I want you guys to do is on your own paper, we're going to be doing a character chart for internal and external traits for Despereaux, the main character of our story. Alrighty, and Despereaux's name is kind of long, so I'm going to spell it with you. So Despereaux is spelled Despereaux. And I just went ahead and I underlined Despereaux's name. And then on this side, I wrote internal traits. And on this side, I wrote external traits, and I drew a line down the middle to separate them. So now don't forget to go back and use the adjective list that I sent you to try and think about different adjectives that we could use to describe Despereaux. And if you need help distinguishing and telling between, is this an internal trait or an external trait? Just think in your head, is this about their personality, who they are on the inside, what they feel and what they think? Or is this about their body, what they look like, what they do, how they move? I also sent you guys a little chart that explains the internal and external traits. So parents, if your kiddos need a little extra help on determining, telling between what's an external and an internal trait, I sent you guys that as well. So if you want to share, I would be so happy to see what you guys come up with for the internal and the external traits of Despereaux. So if you want to email those to me, feel free to do so, and I look forward to hearing you guys, and I'll see you next time for the next chapters.